Before I begin, I need you to do something for me. Lock your door, turn on the lights, and whatever you do, do not search for what I am about to tell you. Because once you hear these stories, you will never feel safe online again. A few weeks ago, I made a mistake. I was bored. It was 2 a.m. and I went to the darkest corners of Reddit and asked one simple question. What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you? I expected maybe a few ghost stories, some creepy coincidences, maybe a spooky dream or two. What I got changed me. Thousands of people responded, and 3 of those responses, I genuinely wish I never read. This is their story, in their own words. Welcome to the Midnight Script. Story 1, The Man Who Answered Back. This first story comes from a woman named Sarah. She lived alone in a small apartment in Columbus, Ohio. She was 26 years old. She worked from home, and she thought she was completely safe. She was wrong. It started on a Tuesday night. Sarah was scrolling Reddit just like any of us do. She was on a thread where people were sharing scary experiences. And she thought, why not? Let me share mine. So she typed out a story from her childhood. Something that happened when she was 9 years old. A strange man she saw standing outside her bedroom window one night. She posted it, got some upvotes, some comments. Normal stuff. She closed her laptop and went to sleep. The next morning, she woke up to a notification. Someone had replied to her post. The username was strange, just a series of numbers. No profile picture. Account created the same night she posted. The reply said 4 words. I remember you, Sarah. She froze. She had not used her real name anywhere in the post. She checked her username, it was just a random tag. Nothing personal. Nothing that could identify her. So how did this person know her name? She told herself it was a coincidence. Maybe someone she knew was playing a joke. She replied back, "Who is this?" The response came in less than a minute. The man outside your window. You were wearing a yellow nightgown. You had a stuffed rabbit on your bed. You looked right at me and you didn't scream. I always wondered why. Sarah's hands were shaking. Because every single detail was correct. The yellow nightgown. The stuffed rabbit. She had never told anyone about that night. Not even her mother knew the full story. She reported the account. Reddit took it down within hours. But that night, she heard something. A sound outside her apartment window. She was on the 3rd floor. She told herself it was nothing. When? A bird. Her imagination. She did not look. She pulled her blanket over her head like she was 9 years old again. In the morning, she found something on her windowsill. A small piece of paper, folded neatly. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside, in neat handwriting, were 3 words. Good girl. Don't scream. Sarah packed a bag that same morning. She has never gone back to that apartment. And to this day, she does not know how he found her. She does not know how he climbed to the 3rd floor. And she does not know if he is still watching. After she shared this story on Reddit, her post got over 14,000 upvotes. Thousands of people commented. But one comment stood out. Another user said, This same thing happened to me. Same words. Same note. Different city. That comment was deleted an hour later. The user's account was gone. And no one ever heard from them again. Stay with me, because the next story is worse. Story 2, we found something in the forest. This story comes from a group of 4 college friends. Jake, Marcus, Priya, and Devin. They went on a camping trip to the Shawnee National Forest in Illinois. It was supposed to be a fun weekend. 3 of them came back. It was their second night in the forest. They had set up camp near a small lake. No other campers around. Quiet. Beautiful. At around 11 p.m., Devin said he heard something in the trees. A sound he described as, like someone dragging a bag across dry leaves. Slow. Steady. Getting closer. They all heard it. Jake grabbed his flashlight and pointed it toward the trees. Nothing. Just darkness and the sound of wind. They went to sleep. Marcus woke up at 3 a.m. He needed to use the bathroom. He stepped out of the tent, and he saw something that made him stop breathing. At the edge of the tree line about 40 feet away, a figure was standing completely still. It was tall. Too tall. Maybe 7 feet. It was just standing there, in the dark, facing the tent. Marcus did not move. He stood there for what felt like forever. Then the figure took one slow step forward. Marcus ran back into the tent. He woke everyone up. He was crying. They decided to wait until morning to leave. No one slept. They sat together in the tent with a flashlight on, listening. For a long time there was silence. Then Devin whispered, "Do you smell that?" They all smelled it. It was like something rotting. Like old meat left in the sun. The smell got stronger. And stronger. And then right outside the tent wall, something breathed. One long, slow breath. Right next to Priya's head. She said she could hear it. Feel it. Like the tent fabric moved slightly with the exhale. No one screamed. No one moved. They sat frozen for 3 hours until the sun came up. When morning came, they came out of the tent. The campsite looked normal. Except for one thing. Around their tent, in the soft dirt, there were footprints. Large, bare feet. Human-shaped. They circled the entire tent. Round and round. Like something had been walking around them all night. Watching. Waiting. But never coming in. They packed up and left immediately. On the way out, they passed a park ranger. Jake stopped and told him what happened. The ranger's face went pale. He said, "Which campsite were you at?" Jake told him. The ranger was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "We've had 3 reports from that exact spot this year. We don't know what it is. We've set up cameras twice. Both times the cameras were destroyed before morning." Then he leaned in and said something none of them expected. "One group last summer, we found their tent empty. Bags still inside. Food still on the fire. Like they just vanished mid-meal. We never found them." Jake, Marcus, and Priya made it home. Devin was quiet the whole drive back. He barely spoke. 2 weeks later, Devin stopped answering his phone. His roommate called Jake and said Devin had moved out in the middle of the night. Left everything behind. No note. No goodbye. Just gone. Jake posted this story on Reddit 6 months ago. Devin has still not been found. Long pause. I told you the next one was worse. But I have to be honest with you. I saved the worst for last. This final story. This one I almost did not share. Because this one is not about a stranger. This one is about someone's family. Story 3. My mother called me after she died. This story was submitted by a man named Daniel. He is 34 years old. He lives in Portland, Oregon. And what he shared is something I still think about at night. Daniel's mother passed away on March 14, 2019. Heart attack. Sudden. She was only 58. Daniel was devastated. They were very close. He described her as his best friend. He said after she died, the hardest part was the silence. No more good morning texts. No more Sunday phone calls. Just silence. 3 weeks after she died, his phone rang. It was 2:17 a.m. He was half asleep. He picked up without looking at the screen. He said, "Hello?" And a voice on the other end said, "Danny, it's Mom." Daniel sat up in bed. He said his whole body went cold. He whispered, "Mom?" The voice said, "I don't have long. I need you to listen to me." Daniel said the voice sounded exactly like his mother. The same accent, the same way she said his name. Danny, not Daniel. Only she called him that. He said, "Mom, you're gone. You died." The voice said, "I know. But something is wrong, Danny. Something is in the house with you. You need to leave. Right now. Don't ask questions. Just leave." Daniel looked around his dark bedroom. He saw nothing. He said, "Mom, what are you talking about? What's in the house?" The voice got quieter, like the signal was breaking up. "It's been there since the funeral. Came home with you. It's been watching you sleep. Danny, please." The call cut out. Daniel sat there in the dark. His hands were shaking. He told himself it was a dream, or a prank, or grief making his mind play tricks. He looked at his phone screen. The call log showed the number. He recognized it immediately. It was his mother's number. Her phone had been buried with her. He did not sleep that night. In the morning, he called the phone company. They confirmed the call came from his mother's number. They had no explanation. The number had been deactivated after her death. It was impossible for that call to have been made. But it was. Daniel almost left it there. Told himself it was some technical glitch. A ghost in the system. Nothing more. But then he remembered what she said. It's been there since the funeral. He started thinking about that night. The night they came back from the funeral, he had felt something strange. Like the air in his house was different. Heavy. Thick. He had told himself it was just grief. He called his cousin Lisa, who had been in the house that night after the funeral. He casually asked, "Hey, did you notice anything weird when we came back that night?" Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Danny, I didn't want to say anything because I thought I was imagining it. But yeah, when I walked past your hallway, I saw something standing in the corner. I thought it was a coat rack or something. But then it moved. And I ran out of there, and I never said anything because I thought I was just upset about your mom. Daniel moved out of that house within the week. He said the last night he spent there, he woke up at exactly 2:17 a.m., the same time as the phone call. And he said, from the corner of his bedroom, he heard breathing, slow, steady, and then a whisper. Not his mother's voice this time. Something else. Something lower, darker. It said just one word. Stay. Daniel ran out of that house in his pajamas. He never went back. He hired someone else to collect his things. And he told that person, if anything feels wrong in there, just leave. Leave everything. The person came back 2 hours later. They left everything. They refused to say why. Daniel posted his story on Reddit on a quiet Thursday evening. By Friday morning it had over 31,000 upvotes. But what scared people more than the story were the replies. Because dozens of people commented saying the same thing. I got a call from a dead relative too. My grandmother called me the night after her funeral. My brother called me from his number. He had been dead for 2 years. Post after post, comment after comment, all saying the same thing, all describing the same warning. Something came home with you. Leave. And here is the part that I cannot explain. The part that made me lose sleep. When I went back to find Daniel's original post to share it with you tonight, it was gone. His account was deleted. Every comment, every reply, gone. I searched his username. Nothing. Like the post never existed. But I had saved it. I had it on my screen. And then, my phone rang. I didn't answer. 3 stories. 3 people who shared their darkest moments with the internet. And wished they hadn't. Sarah, who never went back to her apartment. Jake and his friends, who lost Devon to whatever was in that forest. And Daniel, who got a phone call from the dead. I don't know what connects these stories. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But I do know one thing. Tonight, when you go to sleep, and the house gets quiet, and your phone lights up at 2 a.m. with a number you don't recognize, don't answer it. If these stories kept you up tonight, you are not alone. Leave a comment below and tell me which story scared you the most. And if you have a true scary experience that the internet needs to hear, you know where to find me. Subscribe. Because next week, the stories get darker. The midnight script. Some stories were never meant to be found.